Coming up on BG24 News, Bowling Green State University President Rodney Rogers looks to the future in the State of the University address. It no longer missing a university student is heard from. Plus, Aaron is everywhere, a look into a new barn in Bowling Green. Those stories and more next.
Live from the campus of Bowling Green State University.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Raylan Cleveland. The state of our university is strong. That was a message from Bowling Green State University Rodney Rogers at this year's State of the University address. Rogers gave his address yesterday. He pointed out that progress made in the last year in academics, research, and athletics. He shared that BGSU was ranked #1 in the state for quality and affordability. But Rogers also focused on the future and some of the issues the university may face. The number of average college-age students will start to decline in 6 years. So BGSU is preparing for the changes expected to occur in higher education.
So today we had a chance to lay out our new strategic vision for Bowling Green State University, a plan that's been developed over the last several months with a lot of great input from various constituencies. In short, it's about redefining student success. It's making sure we connect our research to the way in which it's driving public good. It's making sure that we empower our people, our students, our faculty, our staff to achieve their dreams and that goal of being a public university for the public good. I'm excited about the beginning of this process, a lot of hard work to accomplish, but I am confident we are well positioned.
It's been a difficult start to the holiday season for a family of a Bowling Green State University student. The student was not heard from for the last 2 weeks, but he no longer is a missing person. Dominic Ferrante joins us live in the newsroom with the latest.
That's right, Raylan. In the Post late Sunday, BGSU announced it was searching for a missing student. Jacob Brown told his parents he was not coming home for the Thanksgiving. He told his friends that he was flying out west. In a Facebook statement posted Tuesday, BGSU announced that Brown is no longer missing. He told BGSU police that he left on his own. BGSU is not releasing any more details on why Jacob left campus and did not come back. Back to you in the studio, Raylan.
If you think men are still dominating comedy, the joke is on you. Reporter Kalia Ivory has more.
Women in comedy are evolving in movies, TV shows, and more. The existing gender gap amongst your favorite comedians seems less wide as more women come up to the mic. BGSU features 4 comedy groups featuring both co-ed and same-sex performers. These groups perform improv on campus and fill their audiences with laughter. The Lady Parts Comedy Group features students who are all women. The Lady Parts Comedy Group is exclusive to women who perform improv on campus. Student director Samantha Abris explained the creation of the group.
Before, there were only co-ed teams, and so after this event was put on originally by some girls from the co-ed teams, they actually came together and thought that we would have a team just of female-identifying people on it, so that way women would have a space that they could participate in comedy and feel like they were comfortable being themselves around other people who are female-identifying, and since sometimes it's hard for females in the comedic community to be involved, we feel like this is a good space for them to be.
All groups on campus are supportive of one another, despite genders of teams. Assistant Director Erica Lindsay described the comedy groups on campus and their connections.
The BG Improv community is much more collaborative, so we like to work with each other, especially since ours, like there are girls on our arts team that are on the other teams, so we like to do things like perform together. We'll do shows together. We do charity shows with the Plastic Shatners and joint shows, so we really like to have this community of like we support each other and go to each other's show rather than this is my team and we're doing this and you're not. So I think it's much more of a collaborative effort.
Women are typically limited in their comedic roles, so Lady Parts prevents this.
So a lot of the times women, sometimes when you're in co-ed spaces or with men, women tend to get put into like a space that's stereotypically delegated to women, like you're the mom or you're like cooking and cleaning in a scene, but that's not the way it has to be. And what we try to do on Lady Parts is just like inspire us to go beyond those roles that were delegated, and just like you can be whatever character you want in a scene, you can do whatever you want in a scene. So I think that typically in comedy, women are kind of pushed to act a certain way and perform a certain way, but we kind of want to break those barriers and let women perform in whatever way they feel comfortable.
This past weekend, the Lady Parts Comedy Group held their annual Women in Comedy show to raise money for the Cocoon Shelter. Reporting from BG24 News, I'm Kalia Ivory.
Ancient art from the Middle East found its way to Bowling Green, but now it's gone. Daniel Kane is here to explain what happened.
After decades at Bowling Green State University, a dozen ancient mosaics are going back home. The university bought the mosaics in good faith 50 years ago, but several years ago, a former professor discovered that the mosaics were stolen from their original home before ending up on the market. BGSU removed the mosaics from the Wolf Center 2 weeks ago and returned them to the Republic of Turkey. But even with the real mosaics back in Turkey, you can still see them at BGSU. Replicas are being made and will be placed in the floor in the next year.
The negotiation to return those to Turkey involved having the Turkey offered to make replicas, and so these mosaics will now be in the Zeugma Mosaic Museum in Gaziantep, and people at that museum will make replicas to replace the ones that they've just removed. Those should be here in about a year. So they'll be made out of roughly the same sorts of materials and in the same designs that we gave them.
There will be a ceremony in Turkey to mark the homecoming of the mosaics. Back to you, Raylan.
BGSU is one of Ohio's largest state art schools. Reporter Mariah Clausen is live at the Art Center to tell us how students can express themselves through glass.
Toledo is nicknamed the Glass City, and with 4 glass manufacturers, it's easy to see why. Here at the Fine Arts Center on campus, students are making amazing sculptures out of glass.
BGSU was one of the first university glass programs. The Glass Studio has state-of-the-art facilities. These facilities allow students to work with hot or cold glass. The studio has furnaces, kilns, and other glasswork equipment. Allie Hogue says students push themselves in the studio.
That moment of recognition when you know that a student has taken like the hard time and pushed through all of like the problem solving, all the times that the glass might fall on the ground or break, and they persevered and they have this moment of success.
Students can create anything out of glass. Student artwork is displayed in Fine Arts Center galleries. Keegan O'Brien says the art department is helpful outside the studio.
Just the whole School of Art in general, like outside of the Glass Studio, the faculty, everybody's like real supportive, and there's like a good community of like art students here that all support and want to help each other as much as they can.
Any student can create in the Glass Studio. Those wanting to do professional work can earn degrees in glass studies.
Students have been showcasing glass artwork since 1991. From the Fine Arts Center, I'm Mariah Clausen.
Thanks, Mariah. Who's in? Who's out? College football teams across Ohio have been tackling changes in their staff. Leo Goldman and Autumn Stevens are here with the details.
Thanks, Raylan. Yeah, recently hired head coach for BGSU, Scott Leffler, wasted no time filling out his coaching roster. On Sunday, he announced the hiring of 7 assistant coaches and a new strength and conditioning coach. The assistant positions filled are offensive coordinator, running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends. Now, these coaches have a combined 172 years of coaching experience between them and an average of 21.5 years per coach. In addition, 3 coaches from the Mike Jinks staff were retained, and those being defensive coordinator Carl Pelini, who, if you remember, was the interim head coach for the final 5 games of the season, linebackers coach Jacob Schoonover, and secondary coach LaMarcus Hicks. Now, one spot that is yet to be filled, however, is the job of special teams coach. It was announced that Seth Dagy's contract will not be retained, and the team will look for someone to fill the void. Now, of course, if that sounds familiar, Seth Dagy, his brother, is quarterback Jarrett Dagy, which now raises questions and raises the idea for some to believe that Jarrett Dagy may be asking for his transfer papers. And from the orange and brown to the scarlet and gray, Autumn Stevens has more on the Ohio State football coaching situation. Autumn?
Thanks, Leo. Now, on Tuesday morning, it was announced that Urban Meyer is retiring from the Ohio State Buckeyes team. He is leaving a legacy after 7 years as head coach and 3 championships underneath his belt. But he said on Tuesday during the press conference at 2 p.m., he kept it short, said, you know, I'm doing this for my family and for my own health. After leaving Florida for the same reasons, this is a little bit different case. He says, my family needs me at this time. And after the Ohio State-Michigan game, he got a little choked up speaking about his wife. And he's keeping in mind the Buckeye Nation and saying, I'm passing down this team and all of my plays, my playbook, my plans for the next few years down to Ryan Day. And, you know, Ryan Day was announced as the next Ohio State Buckeyes head coach, and recruiting will remain the same. He's a better closer in some cases as Urban Meyer on the recruiting scene. So those recruits coming into Ohio State can still have confidence in the team and the program. On Friday, the 2020 5-star recruit class will be able to come in and, you know, tour the campus a little bit more and see if this is something that they still want. They want to keep in mind that, yes, the coaching staff will change, but they will be able to keep in mind that the Buckeye tradition will continue on. So, Raylan, this is not much of a huge change for the Buckeye staff. It is the head coach coming in, and a lot of Buckeye fans are upset, and Michigan fans as well are upset because they won't get the chance to defeat Urban Meyer. But it is a new change coming in, and Buckeye fans can be excited for Ryan Day. Back to you, Raylan.
That's understandable. When we come back, a look at one man's journey to retirement. Now we go to Kendall Lindenkugel for a look at weather. Kendall?
Thanks, Raylan. Well, we finally have some more sun in the forecast, but that only comes with chillier temperatures on the way. Right now we are at about 34 degrees, and we had a little bit of light snow or so. That is not expected to accumulate. It's only about a ½ inch or so. Right now we had our westerly wind of 12 miles per hour, and that is going to expected to kick up a little bit as we head into the night tonight. Tonight we have a low of 23 degrees. It's going to be mostly cloudy, but as we get closer into Friday morning, the clouds will clear up as we head towards the beginning of the day. If we take a look at the rest of the week, Friday we have a high of 30, and that's going to be mostly cloudy, but that will clear up as we get towards into that night. Saturday is when the beginning of the beautiful sunshine starts. It's been much needed. I know we haven't seen it in a little while, but we have a high of 30 on Saturday. Sunday we have another sunny day. It's going to be a high of 35, Monday 36, Tuesday 36, and we have little to no chances of precipitation in the forecast. That's it for weather. Back to you, Raylan.
So you mentioned some warmer weather coming up. Does this mean that we're going to see some warmer temperatures?
Unfortunately, no. The more sunshine, since there's less clouds in the air, that means there's not going to be enough insulation keeping the warmer weather inside of our atmosphere. So that will mean a little bit chillier temperatures, but it means more sun, right?
Oh yeah. Is this cold temperature, is this going to last?
Actually, no. Towards the middle of next week, we are expected to have highs into the mid to upper 40s. So this chillier pattern we are going to have will end very soon.
Good to hear. Good to hear. It's very uncommon to hear of someone retiring for 2 times, but a Bowling Green man did just that. Reporter Dominic Ferrante found out how it came about.
Rain, wind, and
George
early
Farr's
snow
career
has
working
made it
at
difficult
Frank's
for
lasted
farmers in
25
Northwest
years
Ohio
once he
this
retired.
year. But
He
one
thought it was
farmer
over,
says
but that
nothing will
end
be
was
more
just
tough than
a new
watching his
beginning.
answers
So I came back
farm
and
get
work. I
tore
didn't.
down after all the
I
memories
worked,
made.
I think 3 or 4 days a week after I turned 65. But I loved it because you meet the people, and you know I don't want to sit home and dry up like a prune.
After Farr came back, he worked another 30 years part-time. And now, at the age of 90, he is retired for his 2nd time. But he leaves with a good feeling.
Unbelievable well of all the people that show up and know that back in the last 60 years, I've probably done something good.
Always professional, always cared about the customers, always loved his job. In fact, I think he even mentioned he does not want to leave.
But he is leaving to start a new chapter in his life. This time, he won't have to retire. In Bowling Green, Ohio, for BG24 News, I'm Dominic Ferrante.
Traveling across Ohio and across the region, finding new places and meeting new people. with interesting stories to share with you. Come along for Aaron is Everywhere.
The harsh rain, wind, and early snow has made it difficult for farmers in Northwest Ohio this year. But one farmer says nothing will be more tough than watching his ancestors' barn get tore down after all the memories made.
Yeah, the kids spent a lot of time in here. Probably they had steers for the fair. They did a lot of hard work in here with hay and straw.
Many barns are more than 100 years old, but they are getting tired and weary. Farmers are also realizing wooden barns aren't needed anymore. They aren't suited for the new, larger equipment. John Recker said it would cost $20,000 more to site his wooden barn than it would be to just build a new one. So John built a new barn last spring. It took the Amish only 3 days. And next spring, it will take 1 day to tear down the barn his great-great-grandfather built. There could be an upside to the new barn. His son may forget an embarrassing memory.
Back in the corner, pulled the last bale of hay, and there was a raccoon right there staring at me, and yelled and ran away. And I still get teased to this day about that.
Reporting for BG24, I'm Erin Kelly.
Thanks for joining us this week's BG24 News. For today's stories and more, follow us on social media. Make sure to visit bgfalconmedia.com for all your campus and community news. Good night.